Well, none of this is usable. The more interesting half of the aggressive inline conversation happened before Craig and his evil twin Yark joined.
We were talking about Tag Chris and how he is the most dominant skater today.
I do want to ask why is it aggressive? Like, what's with the dude?
To be honest, I think it's because skateboarding was so cool that inline had to throw some kind of adjective on there, or else it would seem lame by comparison.
But I've heard like skateboarding is a bunch of losers.
Foz, are you sure you've heard that? Or did you hear that from those guys over there?
Those guys over there. They're telling me how like people who skateboard are just dumb and stupid.
Oh, now I gotta go beat up a bunch of teenagers.
I'm a 30 to 40-year-old man, and I'm gonna go attack that child based on this hearsay.
Immediately on hearsay.
I'm very easily manipulated.
Yeah, I do quite literally have a skateboard tattooed on my ankle, so I'd have to beat them up.
Well, yeah. It's nice that the non-Mark McGrath members of Sugar Ray were getting work back then.
More like Sugar Gay.
That's what we're going to come in on.
That's a reference. I want the world to know that's a reference.
To what?
There's a video on YouTube where somebody calls Mark McGrath Sugar Gay, and he flips out for like 10 minutes on it. It's like a 14-year-old kid, and he's like screaming in his face.
That is a thing I'm vaguely aware of, just from some kid made a really innocuous joke at Mark McGrath, and he freaked out at them.
Yeah, there's a
that's the headline.
10 to 20 minute Cody Code Noel Miller video reacting to it. That's quite popular.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Fun.
Just shout out to them. They need the plug.
Yeah. It's nice to help the little guy. There's only 4 credited songs on the Brink soundtrack, which is wrong.
It's not only is it wrong, I think they only credited the ones that were used twice, which is kind of a weird move. It's a 90-minute movie. They used 4 songs twice.
That's fair. They
also absolutely garbled the Suicide Machine song in the beginning. They kept chopping and screwing it in a way that really pissed me off as someone who knows that song.
Yeah, by Suicide Machines. Of course, sooner or later by Fastball chomping at the bit to get into this one, you have to imagine.
Yeah, they weren't super famous already by then.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to talk about Brink later today, but first off, we're just going to do stuff out of order because it's fine. It's all going to be fine.
Wait, are you going to ask us what we've been watching before you start the podcast?
No, we asked give us the question of the month.
Yeah. We'll do the question of the month, which I think I have a better one, but since this is the first episode of the month, we always have opportunity to workshop and you can maybe help me make it better than last month. Anyway, as you know, I don't know how to start the podcast, so it'll be whatever we keep. I honestly don't know when Craig and Yark started recording, or something along the lines of "Welcome to Late to the Movies." My name is Ben Holt. This is a podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. Each week, we'll pick a film that film is strong this month, maybe. Each week, we'll pick a video that either I or guest hadn't seen before and really should have by now. This week, kick it off. DCOM May. All one word because it's got to be sweaty. A whole month of Disney Channel original movies. We're starting with Brink! Exclamation point. From the 90s, 97? I don't have it in front of me. 1998. Directed by some guy.
Greg.
My friend Greg. He was 7. Now, he would have known better blocking by then.
Greg Gunberg? From Heroes?
Greg Beeman.
Beeman.
Is that Jerry Seinfeld's pseudonym?
Might not be.
No, this man recorded, filmed a few other movies.
Including the B movie.
None of which I've heard of before.
License to something?
License to Drive, Tales of the Unknown, Mom and Dad Save the World, and Bushwhacked. His feature career was over by 95. 3 years later, he was hired to make this film.
Good for the B-Man.
On his TV movies, much more extensive than his features, he has, to my eyes, 4 Disney Channel original movies, this being his second. He did the first DCOM under wraps. He also did Brink, then Horse Sense, and Miracle in Lane 2. That's a DCOM, right?
I think so. That's the Freddie Muniz one, right?
Yeah, Frankie. Yeah. Yes.
Old Freddie Muniz.
Yes, Freddie Muniz.
Oh, interesting. He directed 2 episodes of the show Providence, which also featured an actor from this movie. That person, Taina, TV's Taina.
Christina Vidal?
Christina Vidal, yeah. Who's in other stuff too. I feel like her name has been mentioned in other contexts, or maybe I just watch Brink a lot.
Made the old Disney to Nickelodeon leap too. Usually Disney's got a stranglehold on those people.
None of this is keepable. I'm sorry. Your guest left right across your podcast style this week. We got Vaz.
English Ben, Dad up.
We got Sam.
Why can't we be Mormons?
Yeah, none of us watched past the first scene.
I got my notes in immediately, and then I zoned out.
The best part was I didn't even write that down. I just started looking through quotes. I'm like, oh, that Mormon line slapped. Keep that.
Slapped. That annoying younger sister who plays annoying younger sister in Smart House, which we'll try and get to this month too. But everyone's seen Smart House. Vaz kind of hasn't seen Brink enough so that we're counting it.
I'm pretty sure while I was watching this, I have not seen Brink at all because none of it was familiar.
Perfect. I thought, well, I texted something about Val earlier, and you were like, "Is Val in Brink?" And you're like, "Oh, you've never seen Brink."
I was like, "How does he know my friend Val? Has Ben met Val?"
Shout out to Val.
Hey, Val.
Hope you enjoy aerating your lawn this weekend.
Yeah, it sounded sarcastic.
It shouldn't have been.
Did they say they couldn't hang out with you because they're aerating their lawn?
There's no, I can't hang out either, so it's kind of a weird thing for me to be sarcastic about.
That's fine. Anyway, y'all seen anything good recently?
I'll defer because mine's dumb.
Yeah, I'll start then. I'll go by arguably the greatest sports film ever put to the big screen, Challengers.
Wink.
Oh, whoops. No, Challengers. I saw Challengers. Incredible. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I really want to see it. It's even playing like the lame multiplexes around here now, so I have an opportunity this weekend, and I aim to take it. We'll see. Time in life, though, tough.
I don't know what it is. Explain it to me.
Zendaya. You know Zendaya from Dune 2, the second best movie from 2024.
Yep.
She is in a love triangle with Frank O'Connor and John Mulaney's son, I assume.
Oh God! I hope Tom Holland doesn't hear about this.
Is Mulaney's son Mike Feist?
Yeah.
Or Feist? He was in the
Mike Feist from
West Side Story,
West Side
and Broadway.
Original Dear Evan Hansen cast. Okay.
Yeah, the original Dear Evan Hansen cast.
Yeah. And essentially, they play tennis together. And they go over the 13 years of them being of how they got to the point of the game that they're currently playing in 2019 in Rochelle, New York.
So it's basically just the intro to Succession.
Yeah.
Okay.
But really great stuff. Like, I was not expecting to love it as much as I did, nor being my favorite movie from this year so far. Just I please watch it.
You like it more than Dune? Just curious. I haven't seen Dune either.
Yeah. I like this more than Dune 2.
Dang.
Yeah.
Right.
The best Zendaya movie beat out the second best Zendaya movie.
Well, she is the moment. We say this every week, but really is. That's really good news to hear. I know people have been people I know that talk to you that watch movies for the Oscars or just because they're like, because they watch movies, have been sort of in and out on Luca Guadagnino, the filmmaker. But this seems to be fairly universally, like, at the very least, very worth seeing. Which the stuff that he does with that camera at one point, this is not a spoiler, but the camera is the tennis ball, and we go between like the rackets on the court, and it's great stuff. That's crazy. Cameras are expensive too, so
Yeah,
they had to go through a lot of money on
and they're hitting that ball, which is a camera. Also, there's a score here from Trent Reznor and Atticus, whatever his last name is. And it's this techno house beat thing, and it's so good. It has such a great score. I can't like everything in this movie. I just loved.
It is Atticus Ross, right?
It is Atticus Ross.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was in my mind.
I couldn't remember his last name.
I got so shook by Finch.
I almost said Finch, and I was like, I know it's not that.
Don't say Finch.
That's a
Don't say
different
Finch.
guy.
It's Boo Radley. Ah, shit.
Boo Radley is finally back.
He only leaves his house to record music with Trent Reznor. Or to stop a murder. That's sorry, spoilers for the end of To Kill a Mockingbird. Yeah, he stops a murder.
He does.
All right, and that's all I got.
He stows a child's pants earlier in the film. Or book. That's what I wanted to say. I really want to see Challengers. It looks good. I want to see it.
It's
And that brings us to Brink.
Brink.
Flawless.
We already said that Vaz hasn't seen it before. This is going to be like the actual released episode, minute 4 or 5. Vaz hasn't seen it before. I've seen it 40, 50 times. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm up there with you.
Something like that.
I had it on a VHS, so it was just on repeat.
Did you have it?
Oh no,
Like,
definitely like recorded with
VHS?
commercials that would be absolutely like super fun to watch now because I'm sure all the commercials were insane.
Yeah. See, and it's interesting because not having like one of the Disney Channel bumpers come up in my face every few minutes really feels like it removes something from the experience.
Tell me to watch Even Steven.
And this was in the 90s, so they didn't have the 9/11 ones up yet.
I forgot how 9/11 changed everything.
Whoever the older sister, Carly Jo Johnson or whatever her name was, she's like, I just love America so much. Disney. Anyway. There's like the kid who played Beans talking about it.
Gordo just waving an American flag. Just picturing a bunch of children just chanting USA aggressively on a bumper, interrupting their own show. You had to be there.
Who wants to give a 1-minute plot summary?
Mike Foss does.
Brink.
All right. Tell me when the clock is. Tell me when I can start.
You start whenever you want.
All right. Brink is about a boy named Brink who wants to just skate with soul. But his parents are so dumb and poor that he needs to join X-Bloods and because they have $10 million worth of merchandise every year, and he can get paid $200 every week. So he does that, but he doesn't tell his friends, and his friends get mad at him when he's turned out he was a sellout, and his dad doesn't like him, and his dad apparently thinks that he's only a construction worker until he gets hurt on the job, and he can't be a construction. He realizes he's not a construction worker. He's a person first, father, I guess. And then Brink wins the competition. Done. Wait, last line of the movie is also we can do anything.
It's not exactly that. But
Yeah.
So skaters,
kind
nothing
of
we can't do.
So my sister's an English teacher, and so I asked her, have you read like Hans Brinker or The Silver Skates, the 1865
Civil War.
Oh God, the 1865 novel by Mary Mapes Dodge. All of that information I of course had in my head, but just not the year Brink came out. And I was like, in that, is he like really good at skating, but is also poor and tries to make money skating, and then all his friends stop being his friend? And she's like, no, that's not what happens at all. And I'm going to take her word for it and not look into it at all, because she's pretty smart about these things.
Is that what it's based off of? Because I don't think I even knew that.
That's why his name. That's why it goes by Brink, because it's based on Hans Brinker.
Andy Brinker.
Well, that's why his name's Andy Brinker, because it's a play on Hans Brinker.
Oh, I thought Brink was like a skating term.
I mean, I think it was a fortuitous occasion. I don't think that's not it, but it is specifically aping that kind of, I guess. Weirdly, though, there is a segment in the novel, because I was flipping through the pages just to check, and he gets home with a satchel, and his little sister's like, "What's in the satchel?" And he says, "Nunya." So that's original text from the 1865 novel.
What about the word tornage?
I don't know why this is happening, but I feel like I have an extremely sarcastic tone about this entire episode so far, and I don't mean to.
I think we're going to hear
it. It's just kind of happening. This isn't even our first Disney Channel original movie. We should talk a little bit about the month. So Disney Channel original movies, this is the third one. They started, I think, 97 because the first one's Under Wraps, which I'm imagining late 97 for Halloween tie-in. This is the third one. Of course, Greg Beeman, the director, his second. He did Under Wraps. And up through the aughts, this was like a cultural force among people our age, and then dropped off to the next generation for Zoomers as well. But these were like, I remember these being a pretty big deal. What was your experiences with DCOMs?
It's weird for me because I wasn't a big Disney Channel kid. I think I've said that before. I mostly stuck to Nickelodeon. I don't know how Brink got in front of my eyes, but at some point, I either saw Brink or saw a commercial for it or something, and it was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I could not get enough of this movie, and I assume I saw this before I liked Tony Hawk, or anything. So kind of I had a pretty deep love for extreme sports as it came to be known during my youth. So I assume that was kind of from this and other things.
Yeah.
I was more of a Cartoon Network kid growing up, but I did watch Disney and Nickelodeon occasionally. And for Disney, it was largely just I would just watch the movies occasionally. The DCOMs I never really got into, but I would watch Toy Story all the time, or some other thing that they might be playing, Smart House.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everyone's freaking seen Smart House. It's going to be impossible to fit in this month. I don't know why.
I hadn't seen Halloween Town until a couple years ago, because that's one of Bree's favorites.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big ones. I feel so Brink, to me, is one of the big ones. I think Smart House, Halloween Town, Luck of the Irish.
Johnny Tsunami.
I don't know if that's as big, but it had the guy from Jet Jackson in it, right? So,
yeah,
bigger.
There was the computer who wore tennis shoes that they showed a bunch, but I guess that was actually released in theaters.
Yeah.
But they just showed it on Disney
Channel. Talking about a movie.
Oh, I also watched Teen Witch a lot, but that was also another Disney theater movie that was just played on Disney Channel a lot.
Yeah. There's a great How Did This Get Made episode about that.
I did misspeak. It was an ABC made for TV movie, so it's not a DCOM.
So worth mentioning. So I was talking to my friend Anthony, who's been on the podcast so many times, and he mentioned the Paper Brigade, and I was like, I don't think that counts. And it was Paper Brigade was the second to last Disney Channel premiere film, of which there's a bunch, and then there's one more, and then Under Wraps starts the Disney Channel original movie branding, which does feel like a pretty self-contained thing.
There's also Escape to Witch Mountain, which I loved. It also has Erik Von Detten in it, and Elizabeth Moss, and Sam Horrigan. Sam Horrigan's also the bully in that, because he's just pervasively the bully in everything in the mid-90s. But that's also ABC. It was on Disney Channel a bunch, but technically ABC, not a DCOM.
In my head, he's essentially playing the same character in that, too.
And
Sam
in Little
Horrigan's
Giants.
Solid. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's good at what he does. He shows up later in, like, as far as other movies, I can remember seeing him after this. Accepted, right?
Yep.
As like douchey frat bro number 4.
Evidently, Jordy's a frat bro in that movie too. I haven't seen Accepted, but I was like looking and I was like, did Jordy do anything else? And it was like Accepted frat bro. I was like, oh, like Sam Horrigan must have pulled him in, but
okay. And as long as we're
yeah, Jordy sold out.
As long as we're going through like things other people in the cast did. You mentioned Toy Story. Erik Von Detten memorably plays the voice of Sid in that, and he was one of the main. He was one of the main Recess voices, also. So
he's also in Princess Diaries very prominently.
Yeah, and then he retires from acting not too long after that, I don't think, and. Technically, his last credited role is Sid in Toy Story 3 in that cameo. So, but before that, it was a pretty big gap and nothing since. And that's already over a decade ago. So
he's on Instagram with his family now a bunch. I was trying to look up what he did and just a shit ton of pictures with him and his family. So it seems like he's having a good time. So good for him. Yeah,
good for him.
Exactly.
Got to retire on that Brink money.
Yeah. I mean, that Disney kid stuff, like it's a grind. So I'm sure he had to earn.
It really is. Not about Disney, but I haven't watched it yet because I famously had a messy breakup with Max, but it's what Quiet on the Set is the Dan Schneider.
Yeah, Bree's seen all of that.
That's Nickelodeon, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoyed, kind of a weird word to use. But like it was like something that she was like watching appointment viewing every time they had a new episode. She was pretty enthralled in it. So if you watched any of those Dan Schneider shows and you're not like, I don't know how to like I am not, this isn't like a shitty thing to say. Like if you are not triggered by like child abuse and stuff, like I would say like it's a very interesting watch. I did not watch it myself like all the way through or anything, but I caught snippets kind of like being done with work and her being like, can I finish this episode or like I'm going to finish this episode. So like I caught like beginnings and ends of episodes and it seemed like a very well done documentary. Very you get someone like Drake Bell who's been kind of publicly reviled for kind of like his side of like what he had done, and seeing kind of like his side of the story as a victim, kind of, I think opens the discussion a little more onto like, the gray areas of, like doesn't excuse what he did, but also like realizing how much trauma, child actors go through. I'm not putting that on Brink, like, I don't know what Disney did for stuff, but like, we do know that Disney's been kind of ruthless with like the way that they bring child stars in, like Anne Hathaway had to do Havoc just to get out of her contract. Like she literally had to show her boobs on camera so Disney would fire her because they wouldn't release her from like some deal that she was part of. Like horrendous like stuff going on in that industry.
I wanted to do a Josh working on the atomic bomb joke, but I decided not to.
We let it lie.
Yeah, it's fine. Anne Hathaway, good actress. I'm glad she got out of the Disney machine.
She's doing well for herself now, so that's good. Same with Hillary Duff. Not Clinton.
Yeah. Oh, you meant Clinton for a second.
Yeah.
Out of the Disney machine.
The Disney machine. And then also in this movie, David Graf gets the "and" on the credits because he was in 8 police academies, I guess.
Yeah. R.I.P. David Graf.
He
Great
died
job.
very soon after this movie.
Yeah, unfortunately. Great job, though. It's funny because, like, I mean, we can get into it, but, like, as a kid, I remember thinking that dad was, like, a stick in the mud. And now, like, I'm watching it back going, like, what a great dad. Like, top to bottom, really good dad.
Yeah, he's good. He's solid. He gives pretty good advice. He really hates skating, but I mean, it's like this kid is kind of annoying about how much he's talking about skating. I get it.
He could have still eased up on the skating stuff.
Yeah, part of my memory was like him being like, ugh, like he like we're gonna lose the house, but like I don't care, you're not skating, like dying on that hill. I kind of forgot they got suspended for skating, and like he brings that up like immediately. It was like, oh, what? I'm sorry, what did he get suspended for? Oh, that's right, skating. So it's like, yeah, if your kid just got in trouble for skating, I don't, maybe $200 a week definitely helps, especially in the 90s. I think that's pretty much like $400 now.
Yeah, but like doing an hour and a half of working at like a pet store is not going to get the money in.
That's hard work. Builds character.
Yeah, I don't think the dad wanted his money, right? He just wanted him to have like an actual responsibility.
Yeah. It is tough. Like I'm obviously not in that situation, but like I can imagine like being out of a job and your kid skating to keep your house would be probably a little, like, I don't want to say frustrating, but you know what I mean? Like, just like be like, ugh, like I really don't want to have to rely on my kids' money. Like it should be. I'm sure that, but like that's portrayed. Like he tries to connect with his son, even though he doesn't really get the skateboarding thing. He's supportive when he needs to be supportive. He is authoritarian when he needs to be authoritarian. I completely flipped on it. I'm in the scene of kind of that, like Vaz was joking about at the beginning. Like it's a really, weird like line, but like kind of hearing him like, I like to be a foreman, like I like telling people that, and then realizing like that's just a job, that's not who I am, like family's what I am, like is like, oh, that's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, solid dad talk that he gives them. If we do get to do Smart House, there's a thing that happens even more there that now I'm going to be trying to watch with an eye. This is just a thing in Disney Channel original movies, but a lot of close-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, LeVar Burton's behind the camera for Smart House. We all know that. And that has an insane amount of close-ups if you've ever watched recently and noticed. But this does too. And in that scene in particular where he's giving him like the talk in the garage. But there's an excuse here because you're like, this guy's doing some acting.
Yep.
He's emoting. He's making it happen.
He's playing with the skates.
Yeah.
All the adults do a really good acting job in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying
that Stevens is in here too.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll get into this, but one of the many examples of like, how come everyone's just mean to Val? Maybe that's why he's mean to everyone else. Is like when he is tricked into eating literal worms and he like spits them out into the trash. A teacher comes over and starts from a point of, I fucking hate you. What's your fucking problem, kid? Shut the fuck up.
He does seem like a troublemaker.
He does, but like that was a bad thing that just got done to him. And this teacher's like, hey, kid, fuck off.
Maybe if someone reached out to him, he'd be all right.
Yeah.
Is that a POD reference?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Good. But the weird thing was that in that scene he wasn't really doing much.
No,
like he just angrily kind of threw something out. It wasn't like the scene. I know this wasn't at school, but the scene where he yells like "You're dead" and starts charging him, like that seems more like a "Hey, what are you doing?" type thing. But
yeah, and it's more dramatic. He's like covered in something, so yeah. If you're an adult, you're like, okay, something weird's going on. I got to break that up. But this is just, I mean, he was at a trash barrel throwing something out.
Yep. Yeah, he was eating literal worms. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, he does kind of start it by throwing them out of the, like they have the pit scene where they're all in the pit and soul skating, and then and then
it's Pete, not proportional.
Pete, like laser eye, sees that guy's hat from like a mile away. I can see that hat.
Yeah,
it's like he was like, "Yo, look over there!"
And the lettering on the hat is
stitches.
Yeah.
So tiny.
The lettering on the hat is also the same color as the hat itself.
It's really hard to see. Why did they do that?
That's the famous hat of Skater magazine or whatever. Everyone who photographs for the
Val explaining what a 540 is to the manager of the team. It's like, was he always trying to go bio at 540? That's 1.5 rotations. Like, thanks, Val.
And again, like in their defense, like, yeah, Val goes about it kind of shittily, but it's like his boss is like, oh, we got a problem. Like, we're losing money. This guy, he doesn't have much time. Val's looking out there like, these kids are injuring themselves. I'm going to do them a favor.
Yep. Real hero.
Oh, the rules here are crazy. You could just stay there all day, and other people are like, "I'd like to participate in this pastime," and you can be like, "No."
Whoever gets to the pit first, that's how you get it.
It's also such a big space.
It's a huge space. You never see like a skate park that size. That's like, well, 3 people use it at a time, and everyone else waits. Like, no.
Nope.
It's not how you build community.
I also want to point out that in the beginning, when Brink is down there with his buds, he says like, "Hey, Gordy, you're doing great. Peter, nice sick thing. Gabriella, you got to lift that leg a bit more on that grind."
Why don't you watch your leg?
Yeah. Like,
not
fuck
wrong.
you.
For real. Also, one thing I noticed that I was like trying to track throughout the rest of the movie, and it doesn't really stay present, but like they miss the bus and they're like, "Oh, we're never going to get to the pit on time. We're going to have to wait for hours." And he's like, "We can skate there." And Jordy's like, "Skating? No." You're like,
"Oh, I'm going to be so tired."
Jordy, that's your whole thing.
That's your whole thing. That's your only personality trait, Jordy.
Also, they make it there with plenty of time. There's no one in the pit.
There's no one in the pit. And then for the rest of the movie, I was like, I think Jordy doesn't like skating, but these people will not hang out with him if he doesn't skate for 5 hours a day.
I also got that feeling. Like, I was thinking about it. It's like, you look at all of them and you're like, okay, well, like Brink probably can go pro. Gabby can probably go pro. Pete probably can't, but like whatever. And it's like, and Jordy's just there. Jordy's just having a good time.
There's no way they came in second in that competition leading into the downhill. It's just not possible.
Like, no offense to Gabby, but Gabby did like a bunch of like completely rudimentary tricks and got like a 95.
But they cut to the crowd a lot, and they were going like, "Woo!"
Also, big ups to Sam Horrigan for doing his own stunts. Didn't realize that.
Oh, cool.
There were a lot of shots of like his face doing, like when he does the grind down the pipe. I'm like, man, that's his face. I looked it up, and he is credited as a stunt performer for that film as well. So,
oh, that's cool. There's a not. I mean, the most obvious time it happens with Christina Vidal is when she and Brink are in like the downhill race before she, and then I guess during while she's falling in slow motion. Where it's like anytime you can't see her face and it's a faraway shot where you can see her whole body and she's actively skating, it's someone who is, I don't know, weighs at least 60 pounds more than she does.
Yeah, her body double is, I looked it up, but she was like a professional skater from Brazil.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, that
it's
girl was probably like, I was going to say probably 4 years older. Also, speaking of ages, on one hand, very impressive that a lot of these kids were literal kids. Like, I think everyone's basically 16 to 18 in like playing high schoolers. So that works. Except for the Black Power Ranger. Walter Jones was 28. Just hanging around with a bunch of children.
I named him Turbo.
Boomer.
It's
Boomer. Whatever.
I know why you probably forgot that, because he hurts his leg like a little bitch.
It just shows where like Disney was at with. It's just one of those things where like it's not something I always pick up on, and that's my own, wallpaper bias thing. But you can tell there weren't any people on the hair team for this film that were black, because that kid's hairline, holy shit. And by my kid, I mean middle-aged adult.
It was
the guy's 53 now.
His hairline in this film, he's mostly wearing helmets, but the couple times he's not, you're like, he got done fucking dirty by the hair team on this one, because that's insane.
It was not easy to look at.
No.
I also like, I'm not trying to be like weird about it, but it's like that dude was a Power Ranger, like, and you have him just kind of sequestered in the background in a high school movie with at the time mostly like nobodies. Like,
yeah, most of the X-Blades are fairly nameless, and he's like nameless plus. He's weirdly prominent for mostly a background character.
Yeah.
Like he gets his own reaction shots in the climax of the movie, and you're like, I don't know if we've established this guy as a guy.
And he also got hurt by like running into a bar like 20.
It didn't come out of nowhere. There was no foul play. He didn't trip.
At worst, he like bruised his rib, and they're like, "Oh, he's gonna be out for the finals."
He broke his fucking leg.
They also did they mention who
he shattered his femur? It's gone.
Oh, you mean before the guy who replaced Brink?
It's some guy who isn't one of the ones that apologizes at the end, but right before, I think it's like before the whole competition. Right, yeah, that guy has nothing to apologize for. He got there today. Like, he didn't know these guys. But there's the two white bleached blonde dudes, and then there's a guy who's like kind of tan and a little bit taller. That's just in one scene where Val and Brink are like, good luck today. Oh yeah, you suck or whatever. Before, at the beginning of the competition, I did make a mental note, like that guy wasn't there before.
I did see that guy. It is kind of weird that guy was just there, but
not at the end. And that's a good point. He has nothing to apologize for. He's probably like, I already got paid. I'm not in the final event. I'm going home.
Yeah, he has no skin in the game besides winning.
I really like Worm. I feel like Worm had a good arc.
Hey man, I didn't know Val was going to try and do. We know he did like attempted murder.
We know he did murder. We know that he's been a general asshole the entire time.
Yeah. I did not like Worm.
Yeah, I'm anti-Worm.
I like Worm. So this is how I thought.
He's a flip flopper. He's only like Brink because he was helping the team out.
When I was a kid, I thought I was going to grow up to be like Brink, or not grow up, but like get like it was going to be in high school. I was going to be like Brink, and then I was actually more like Pete. And then as an adult, I feel like I'm more like Worm, but I want to be like Jordy. I want to just be the easygoing friend in the background, but I'm a pot stirrer. We got to stir the pot. A little too excitable.
Stir the pot.
And I don't have a good moral compass when it comes to my friends that try to murder people. So, just how it is.
So if you're Val and you're working really hard at this, and like, you carry yourself like you're kind of a jerk or whatever. And you have a rival who is this fucking golden boy prick who could do no wrong that everyone loves. And that's your foil. I would be a little mad too. And like, anytime you make any move against this kid, him and his shitty friends retaliate with such disproportionate actions that,
Val did take. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, yes, he made you leave the pit after you had only spent 3 hours there or whatever. And then you sick, full-grown adults to kill him.
But then he threw Pete's weirdly already tied up shoes onto the power lines.
Yeah, and you respond by making him eat earthworms. And then pointing and laughing at him. Like, this fucking idiot's eating worms.
But then they have
call him a wuss.
Yeah, he did call him a wuss. Or he said, don't be a wuss. He wasn't a wuss. He didn't rat him out.
Yes. No, and he doesn't. He doesn't rat him out because of the social pressure of they were turning a thing when he was like, oh, if you like tattle out of me, you're a wuss or whatever.
But then they go to battle. They were getting beef, so they had to battle.
And he sets up. He doesn't cheat in this one. X-Blades doesn't cheat in this one. They just happen to he just tries to finish the race, and then he's a bad guy because of it.
Yeah, because the Black Power Ranger's dying on the ground from hitting a handrail at 10 miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean, Val saw this as an opportunity. This just shows why we were going to have tryouts already.
Yeah. So Val goes. I don't know if Val wins. They don't establish where the finish line is because Val leaves, and then Val comes back, and then he's like, "What are we doing?" And Brink's trying to help, and then the teachers come, and Val just leans in and goes, "Nice." Real loud. Like, oh great, now I got in trouble because you were helping a student.
He was helping a 28-year-old man.
This 28-year-old man with a mortgage that's writhing on the ground.
And it is Brink's fault that they get suspended because he's like, go get a teacher. And yeah, he wants the kid to not die from his terrible wounds. But,
Can we also briefly talk about how much of the dialogue in this movie is definitely recorded after the fact? Like,
there's a good amount of ADR across the Disney Channel original movie experience.
That's fair. Like,
they're shooting on location. It's hard to pick up lines.
Because he's like, Kimball, like, go get a teacher. And it's like, I'm on it. And it's like, that kid's mouth didn't open. And then, like, later, probably the best one was when they're doing the X-Blades, like, practice. And he, like, gets done. And, like, you see, like, Worm, like, dap him up. And it says, like, Worm's, like, voice actor, or actor, like, comes over, like, on a voice line and goes, something like, that was great, dude. But, like, you can tell it doesn't match up with his mouth. But it's like, okay, whatever. And there's a girl in the background that just sounds like it's in, like a Dare video. She's like, that was rad, Brink. Just, like, what are we doing?
Ugh. Anyway. So yeah, I think generally speaking, Val isn't really in the wrong for the first hour of this movie. It seems to it's like an even rivalry kind of thing. He gets a little racist and tries to kill the Peruvian lady.
That's
immediately, but
that's his downfall.
There is the line right before he does a hate crime murder combo, where he says, like, basically, like, because Brink, I guess for the plot reasons we should say, Brink soul skater with all his buddies, but then his parents can't make the mortgage, so Val kind of like tips his hand and goes like, oh, you guys can't try out for us, but if you were, hypothetically, you'd be making money. So he shows up to X-Blades tryouts, makes the team, and then like they find, like, his friends find out about it, and then he like quits on the on the X-Blades team, and they have like this whole like angry like meltdown, and then Val walks over and goes, you know the difference between them and me? He's like, I'll still be your friend. And I'm like, what? Like, number one, like, I know it's manipulative, but he's also not wrong. It's like, Val is, like, from high school perspective, like, I mean, you think back to like high school bullies, there's like this talk about how like a lot of times high school bullies think they're actually friends with people because they don't realize how mean and like traumatizing they're being. Like, if you think about it from like maybe not Val's perspective, but Worm's perspective, like, Worm's just kind of dunking on Brink because he's on a different team. If you think about it from like the context of like a little league baseball team where he's on a different team, like, he's just kind of throwing dumb jokes out there. I mean, 90s jokes, like he makes a sexist reference to Gabby because it's the 90s, which she gives it back to him pretty hard. With it's like the, do you ever get arrested for impersonating a boy? Which is not a crime, by the way. And then she says, no, do you? It's like, oh. But no, Val just pointing out, you can make money with my team. We're trying to be good. And also your friend stitching you is dumb. It's like, yep, just correct.
In Brink's friend's defense, like, Brink was lying to them for like weeks or at least days.
Yeah, but that's not Val's problem.
Oh, it's not Val's problem. It's Brink's problem. He should have just up with his friends. Be like, hey, I need to get money for my family's mortgage.
I don't know why Brink doesn't bring it up. I know they have the scene where he's trying to, and then Val interrupts it and like does like a weird hardo move where he makes Brink not make fun of him. But
yeah. There's the scene where, like, after Gabby gets, victim of assaulted, then he's in her room and he's like, we really need the money. And she's like, everybody needs the money, Brink.
We all need the money. But where?
You're the one who told me about soul skating. And I just see Brink being like, I threw that out. I didn't think you guys were going to latch on so hard to that as an identity. I thought it was just like a fun thing. It's alliteration.
It's such an antithesis to like what kids are like today. Like, if you look at, like, I'm not a youth, but like from all I've heard is that youths want to be like influencers, and content producers, and that makes sense. It's a job where you do something that you want to do and you make money for it. But I don't think if you talk to any kids that want to be influencers, they're like, I want to do it for the love of the game. It's like, no, everyone wants to make money.
Soul streamers.
That's true. I've been grinding pathologic for fun, for the love of the game.
Altruism tubers.
Hey, we can make it. Let's start that. Start the revolution.
I don't know. I only hawk natural products, or I don't know what it would be.
This video is sponsored by Doctors Without Borders. That's right. Anybody I make this video.
This video is sponsored by My Own Thoughts.
Get a clue.
Terrible plant-based deodorant and stuff.
This video is sponsored by you not doing drugs.
So I think we're getting to a place on the podcast overall, like for the show, where we're not really beholden to the plot anymore. We've transcended, and
Greg's not mad about. Greg's not mad about the plot not being in order anymore.
Yeah, exactly. We're jumping around, and I think that's fine because it's a Disney Channel movie, and not in a bad way. But one thing I did want to make a point about, I have in my possession the last surviving copy of the lyrics to the final song that plays over the end credits. By which I mean I Googled it and it didn't exist, so then I transcribed it. And so, in a very literal sense, I have the only surviving copy of all the lyrics. You want to hear them? I feel like
yes.
we could have just done this instead of a plot summary, because the amount of it that plays over the credits is about a minute. So just know throughout there's a chorus of mostly female voices going, "Come on, Brink," and the song's called "Come on, Brink," and it's "Come on, Brink, grind." I already fucked it up. I did the wrong word first. Come on, Brink, jump it, grind, and pound it. Slam the ramps and show you own it.
It's a real Butthole Surfers-esque guy, like singing.
It really sounds like the person who wrote this, whose name was Mark some fucking shit, and another guy, because two people wrote this. There was a team. Come on, Brink, jump it, grind, and pound it. Slam the ramps and show you own it. Come on, Brink. Multiple times throughout this, I have in parentheses unintelligible. And it sounds like he said there's a syllable and then skate for money, glory, or fame. I think the syllables don't skate for money, glory, or fame. Soul skaters riding that perfect wave. Now, this is where it occurs to me. This person doesn't know what skating they're talking about. Come on, Brink. Then there's a guitar solo. Come on, Brink. All for one and one for all. That's just a phrase. That's not yours. You didn't write that. Line them up and watch them fall. Ooh.
But he's not doing it for money or fame.
Line them up. Come on, Brink. Unintelligible. Skaters competition. Can't compare to Brink's ambition. But that is his ambition. That's the climax of the film. At the end of which he says we could do anything. Which I guess, now that I've mastered this competition, I can do anything. So in a literal sense, skaters competition can't compare to Brink's ambition.
I mean, they do say that Val is the best skater in the country. And he definitively beats it.
It's at this point that the version that exists in the film ends. However, the version I listened to continues, and I thought it was to do my due diligence. I kept writing. A note about the version that appears on YouTube. Somebody took the song. I guess they had a full version from some whatever. They bought the soundtrack. I don't know. And they cut it with, during those guitar solos, there's more coming. they cut it with like some lines from the film. The first comment on the YouTube video is, "Oh, I wish there was a version of this that existed without all the cuts to people talking, just so like I can enjoy it on my own time." And that comment had the vibe of Jonah Hill's character in 40-Year-Old Virgin, just being like, "I want to take these and just like have them and bring them home." Anyway, so. And then the first response is, "I wrote this song and have all the files. I can email them to you." And like, why would you lie about that? So I assume that's Bark, whatever the fuck his name is, or the other guy who wrote this song.
Just scouring his own music to see if people still like it. How did that not win the Oscar that year?
It did.
Oh my God.
Anyway, we'll see how much of that remains, but I needed you guys to know that's one of the 4 credited songs on the soundtrack.
That and the "Speak Your Mind, Say Your Mind," which plays over a skating montage.
when they're doing the competition, and it's like a sample of somebody going like, there's something about like blow yourself.
What
the fuck's happening?
I always thought it was "Control Yourself."
That would make more sense.
The credits, or not the credits, the subtitles said "You gotta know yourself," which is too many syllables for what that guy says.
Yeah, control yourself. That would work too. Buzz or blow yourself.
I was trying to find that song. I couldn't find it. It's not on the official soundtrack.
I don't think it's a song.
Might be part of the original soundtrack.
Yeah, I think it is like that's like score at that point. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
Boy Slim adjacent.
Yeah, it's a sample of like a speech or something.
Yeah,
it's like that time Malcolm X said, "Blow yourself." Go, okay. Anyway,
do we want to transition back to why is it that losers always say they're in it for the fun? Because I really like that one.
Yeah, it's good. It's not wrong.
Also, I loved, I guess they'll let anyone skate here. Which was said unironically.
Yeah.
Like someone was stopping someone from skating in a public place.
Yeah. And they use that as like that was that person's insult. That's not like, that's normally like when friends greet each other at a bar.
Yeah. Like, oh, here comes trouble. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Not like, got him. You know, that you're not actually trying to do a thing with that.
This will repeat seeing Brink go like, and the X-Planes be like, "Oh, I guess it's all anybody in here."
You're right. So logistically, this competition
all building to a downhill, which is talked about like it was a death race.
It's and treated with the correct amount of seriousness. All the top teams in the nation are there.
Mm-hmm.
It's on ESPN.
Yep, they luckily
all of the magazines are here. Not all the skating magazines.
You know, just all the Vogue, Boys Life.
Yeah.
Highlights.
They're here.
Good housekeeping.
Yeah.
Team Puppet Son.
And Nintendo Power, probably. It's the 90s. And how did they qualify for this nationally broadcast competition? Because Gabby starts up first, and the guy, he's like kind of being a little sexist, but in his defense, he's like, "We don't know anything about these people. They're here. They're starting."
Like, Brink's by far the best player. And they're like, kind of, or competitor was like, kind of a relatively unknown. It's like, okay, well, if that guy doesn't.
And the context for that is he did compete with a professional team in one previous competition, right? When he was on X-Plays. And it's like, oh, that makes sense.
2 days earlier.
Right, yeah. So it makes sense that she's like, this guy's a relative unknown. He did like pretty good at this competition, like, you know, this regional competition a few days ago. Yep. These other people are just like high school students who asked to join and no one else thought to.
And there was evidently no entry fee. It's also weird that it's team based. Like, think about all the extreme sports you've ever seen.
Yeah, right. It is weird that it's team based.
Like even there's like there's brands within skateboarding and like these are the guys that ride for Flip, but they're still competing against each other. Like, they're not like, oh, here's Team Flip's points versus Element or whatever.
Right. Yeah. There's sometimes like specific exhibitions set up that could be like team based, right? But it's not like X Games or like the Olympics.
What was Tony Hawk's tour called? Boom Boom Huck Jam or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
he used to do teams. He used to be like, and it was, but like that was almost like wrestling levels of like, I think that was mostly like,
right. That like, came to your town and they did like a monster truck rally style presentation
where like they knew who was going to win, but like in the way that Gravedigger always wins, because they basically just get 3 people from the crowd and they're like, just say Gravedigger or else we're not going to give you money.
Yeah. I guess so. Worth pointing out, not only like Disney Channel original movies as a cultural moment for our generation, but also extreme sports as a cultural moment for what was happening really with Gen X. And this is sort of a co-opting of that by the younger generation. A big deal at the time. And that, I guess, is supposed to be like an X Games level event at the end.
Yeah.
I guess.
They don't actually call it. They just keep saying it's the finals or the championship, right? Like they don't actually give it.
Yeah. And then when the guy with the dreadlocks is introducing the downhill race, it has a proper name. He's like, it's the whatever downhill.
Oh, I missed that.
Not that it's like a sponsor, but he names it and it's like the name of a thing. Maybe it's just the name of the town or whatever, but it still like has a name,
It's not crazy to me to think that like, like a bunch of kids from SoCal, which is undoubtedly where this is based, is like, kind of the hub. You know what I mean? Like in the same way that like,
right.
I was thinking about this while watching it. Like I was very, I was very into extreme sports. Like I'd watch the X Games religiously every year. I knew a ton of skateboarders' names, a ton of BMX guys' names. I loved Brink. I loved Tony Hawk. And I never went and skateboarded really. Like I would go around, like I just didn't really have like friends that were super into it that wanted to teach me how to do it or anything. But like, no doubt if I grew up in SoCal, I would have skated more because like it's just more of the culture. There's more opportunities. You can skate year round, versus up here, once it's winter, you're not really going outside. But it's like, it's not crazy to me to think that a bunch of high school students from SoCal would have like a team to compete at a national level. But it is extremely weird to me that they're just like, oh, and by the way, like down the street is the national. Like you can't just walk into the X Games.
Yeah. And again, that team is a newly created team of random people who have never competed in a public event before.
At a world level event.
Right.
And they presumably signed up early because they kept talking about like, we got to practice.
It's coming up.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Like they knew they were getting in.
Like it's the Thanksgiving football game for your high school or something. But then it's broadcast on ESPN.
Again,
and there's other teams from around the nation there.
Yeah. There's G-Force.
Team 5 Gear. Or whatever it is.
And whatever his last name's Kelly, and I keep wanting to say Brian Kelly, but it's not Brian Kelly.
Oh yeah, no, that he's killing it.
That guy is fucking killing it. Oh my god!
You see that backflip?
It's marked for death. And he dies.
He does die.
He's not moving. He falls all the way to the flat bottom, which is a weird way to say. Like just the bottom of a vert ramp, and they're like, and he is not moving. They make a point to say he is not moving.
That guy that did the big air at the X Games that jumped too far out from the half pipe,
Jake Brown,
from the quarter pipe. Sorry, yeah, he got up faster than this guy did.
He literally did. That was probably the most terrifying moment.
And he should have died. Really,
he was 50 feet in the air. Like, how did he not die?
Knee pads.
Yeah, evidently. Yeah, don't look up Jake Brown X Games crash if you don't want to see someone fall 40 feet flat on their face.
Terrifying. Crazy that they still do that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like Tony Hawk's on commentary, and you can hear him like the soul leave his body, like because he literally says "dude," but like in like a way that you just saw someone die. Like it is.
Yeah.
Like he competed the next year and he came in third because Danny Way almost died in like a very similar way, unfortunately.
Right.
But anyway,
Anyway, all to say, Kelly dies. And so Team Puppin Suds, who I guess is in second, we don't even know how many teams are competing, but certainly
they
some
were
of the
in
professional
fourth.
teams. Right. Right. Go into it. So.
Also, like the number of times Brink and Pete land low on the vert, which they actually even mentioned in Pete's run. They're like, "Oh, he landed super low on the vert," and like for people that don't like extreme sports, don't notice landing low on the vert both hurts your score because you shouldn't do that, and two, it also you can't get momentum. Like if you think about, like an actual vert ramp from a momentum style, if you land low on the vert, you're not getting as much momentum. You're not traveling as much distance. So like there's no way that he could have landed low on that vert and just like pretty much immediately popped a 540 like inverted or bio. I looked up on a Lycos site, which was crazy to see in 2024, still going. Last updated 2023. That bio is inverted / sideways spin.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chekhov's bio 540 finally pays off in that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming the whole time. Pete's got to land something, but eesh, whatever. So that, I guess they end up in second, and then, I guess the score for the team that was in second was low enough because that one guy did such a shitty job with the whole dying thing that it brought the whole team score down for vert low enough that Team Puppin Suds vaults from fourth to second. And
yep. Yeah, also like you figure like maybe
even,
like drop lowest score type thing.
Right. And even if he is injured, you only need one team member to compete in the final thing. But whatever. It doesn't matter. Team G-Force got hosed. We've been saying it for 26 years. So yeah, and then the final thing, I don't know, it's good. He definitely cheats.
Yeah,
Brink cheats.
Like Brink cheats. It's overcast and foggy at the beginning of that thing because, like, the day they were shooting the beginning was clearly just a shitty day. But it was Disney, and evidently Clint Eastwood was directing, and they're like, "We got to shoot today. We don't have no choice." So they start like under rainy forecast conditions, and then it's just bright blue skies the rest of the race.
Yeah,
hey, that's California, man. The weather changes like that.
Yeah.
Also, the blind turn.
Den's holding like a really obvious plastic baby.
Yeah.
All right,
hilarious. I gotta hit the links.
With jokes while we're in there. Yeah. Anyway,
Andy Brinker, you just roast Andy Brinker as an empty chair the whole time.
Hey, so skater, more like Soul Gator.
Like Clint, you can't say that.
Right up.
But why is there a blind turn? Is ESPN the worst?
It's like a half mile too. That is just all blind.
And then part of the part that's not the blind turn, it's like once they're back on camera, it's entirely dependent on a handheld camera.
Yep.
And like a crew like of 3 guys just try to chasing them down the street. One of them's holding a fucking camera.
I got it all.
I got it all. And it's like, okay, so. But then Brink's like, well, then I'm just going to cheat too.
Yeah, and there's flags.
Everyone loves it.
Is that like the excuse they give? Like, well,
everyone's cool with it.
Val cheated first, so.
And then Gabby like declares that she invented shortcuts because she jumped over a truck over a corner, and then he goes through an entire alleyway, and she's like, "My move!" Like, that's not your move. You jumped a truck.
And definitely, in the course that Val was taking, definitely was longer. It wasn't like it wasn't parallel. It looked like he had like another block to go up and over before he came back down the street that Brink rejoins on.
Yep.
Yeah, and the commentators note it too. Like, well, there's Brink.
Holy shit!
From the alley.
The fuck is that guy doing?
Here's Andy Brink cheating profusely.
We love it.
Woo!
What a fun time we're having. And then they get to the finish line. It is a nice visual element that they have parallel ramps that they got to jump at the ribbon on.
That is nice.
And then everyone's like, Val, we hate you now. You lost your job.
There's one
They're
extra that's going
fired.
so hard during that scene too. He's like screaming and going thumbs down in his face, like "Boo, cheater!" Boo.
And then I think Val rolls off into like the ocean.
The ocean. It's the only way his family can regain their honor. He walks into the water.
He commits seppuku with like a starfish.
And that's it for Val's whole life.
And then everyone on Team X-Plane is shocked that Val would cheat. They're all like, "Man, I couldn't believe he would do something like that." And then
like he tried to kill a few people before, but
like the scummy '90s manager who did a great job. Like that guy was just killing it as Scummy's '90s manager. But just like comes over and he's like, "Brink man, Val, he's out. The cheating thing don't work.
Don't work.
Can't do it. Turns out cheating not in right now." The whole Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa thing, people don't like it.
And it's funny. And I don't think it'll be too obvious what Wikipedia rabbit hole I went down of someone's extremely long legal issues section of their bio. But those sponsors dropped Val faster than Macy's removed Sean John products from their shelves in early 2024.
Hey, woo.
It took them a while, Macy's.
Oh, also, like, Brink's like, "Oh, I can't ride for your sponsor anymore. I gotta ride with my friends." This is the team that just won the national championship. Like, why isn't that guy just like, "I'll sign all 4 of you. I don't give a shit." Like, I'm paying you each like $20,000 a year. Like, it's not a big deal for me. I pull 10 mil
off merchandise.
This isn't a problem for me. I don't know why you think it is.
You guys can
I was in Forrest Gump. You
guys can skate for fun. All you got to do is wear these shirts and take a couple of pictures. That's it. Stuff that you already have all talked about you like to do. Like, you say you skate for fun, but you entered a national competition, so you obviously
for fun.
Be the sponsor.
And if you guys lose, whatever. Like, you're exactly at the same spot you started. Like, you're just not making money and skating for fun. Just, you might be able to make money off of it.
Hey, now, I might have been in contact, but you should... I'm just looking at his Wikipedia now. I don't know. His name is Jeffrey Blake.
He's in Forrest Gump, too.
Yes. He's the abusive radical boyfriend of Jenny.
It's that damn Lyndon Johnson, man. Shout out to Greg.
Yeah, we might do a 94 month this year. We might do a 99 month this year. There's options. If we do a 94 month, we'll do Forrest Gump, though. Greg's favorite movie. Literally the only notes I took on this movie were the lyrics to Come On Brink. So
I only have 2 left. I've been deleting them as I bring them up.
Oh, smart.
The only 2 I have left. The word chornage being said early on.
Chornage.
And I said that the dad is like Robert De Niro from Bronx Tale, but if skating was organized crime. Like, why can't you just be a good construction worker like me? The working man's the hero. Why you gotta be skating all the time? The working man is a sucker.
Val is like trying to intimidate Brink into joining the team, and he like closed the door and he's like, "Now you can't leave."
Now you can't leave. Team explains tries to kill all the kids in Peep Up and Sons by throwing Molotov cocktails at their houses.
Yeah, these things happen. But I think we're through to ratings. We actually did focus on the important parts of the plot and the confusions and the cast, and where are they since? Nowhere really. Did you watch So Weird? Because 2 of the main characters in this were 2 of the main characters on that.
I didn't, but I did know about it. It was like the Journey of Alan Strange like level of like, yeah, I'm aware that show's on, but I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, the kid who plays Peter is, I think, more main, but it's mostly about I think he's the brother of the girl that's the main character. And I watched a lot of So Weird. I cannot remember what Erik Von Detten did in it, but he's in like 40 episodes or something.
He's probably like the bully.
Was there a bully in that? It was like a traveling, like in my head, it was like the Ghost Adventurers crew, because I feel like they did a lot of traveling and investigating paranormal shit. So why would they take a bully with them?
I don't know. I mean, that's fair. Brink screams to me like, Erik Von Detten screams to me like the kind of guy that was like the pretty boy, you know, like super popular kid in like a lot of things. And it's just whether the framing device is like he's making fun of nerds or if it's about him. Okay. But he is in the picture. He is in the picture for it, so I assume he's part of the main cast.
I remember being really confused because the mom is Mackenzie Phillips. And I remember my parents like knew who that was. And then I, as a child, did not. And they were like, and one of her siblings is the Phillips of Wilson Phillips. I know that. Mm-hmm. And then she herself, I just mean like when I was a child, I didn't know like, oh yeah, she was on over 100 episodes of a seminal sitcom before I was born. You know, I didn't know that. Anyway, all to say, it looks like Erik Von Detten also is there.
Yeah, it looks like he's like the himbo of their group.
Yes. It's a weird connection, but the reason I mentioned the mom is because the traveling is like they're on a tour bus for her music, I guess. But also investigating paranormal shit. I just got to go back to this. I don't believe it was good. They made 65 episodes.
Just going back to kids shows and being like, is this good?
It's executive produced by Henry Winkler.
I thought it was Henry's brother for a second.
Keep talking about siblings so much. All right. Anyway, it's time to jump it, grind it, and pound it. Let's go to ratings on a scale of 0.5 to 5 at any scale you're choosing aside from stars. What would you give Brink? There's a couple very key terms that get repeated in this, so I'll elect to go last in case you want to take them.
I'll go first because I don't know any of those terms. So I will go with 2.5 out of 5 gnarly waves.
I was going to use chornage until I just mentioned it, so now I've beefed myself here. I'm going to go with 3 out of 5 skate betters.
Skate better.
Skate better.
Not saying it would have been particularly inventive, but you could just go like Soul Skaters or something like that. And the kind of cop out, the safety quips, so to speak, I like to leave on the table.
I told you not to eat that spoonful of frosting.
So the lowest I think I ever go is 3, because I'm just like, we're having fun here. I had a good time. So 3 bags of Nunya out of 5 for me.
So I'm the bad guy now for giving it a 2.5.
Well, I gave Predator a 3.5 because I had solely for 1 week decided that I was going to try to do the polygon thing where I was like, okay, I'm going to really make the scale work. So I'm going to give Predator, which I probably would give a 4 or 5 now. So I'm going to give it a 3.5 so I can really work the scale. And then I immediately abandoned that plan when I got bullied into doing like a 4 on Josie and the Pussycats the next week. But I can't in good conscience give Brink higher or the same rating as Predators. It's got to be draft day for me.
Yeah, that's the only time I enforced a naming convention for a scale, because we did it by draft round because I thought it was funnier.
Which didn't work because
the lower the round,
the lower the round, the better.
Yeah. No, which was part of why I thought it was funny, I think.
Then you acknowledge that, and then someone immediately beefed it. I forgot who it was.
Yeah.
Because someone's immediately like, okay, 2 rounds out of 5. You're like, so it's like a 4? And like, oh, wait, no.
Anyway, I drafted this one in the 3rd round, I guess. Let's slam the ramps and show we own it with this month's question. I went to a Halloween party before COVID, and it was Disney Channel original movie themed. And there was a lot of really good puns of snacks there. The one for this soul taters, and there were tater tots. What's a
soul taters?
Yeah, think of a different Disney Channel original movie and come up with a food pun.
Oh God, why would you do this to me?
We are doing Xenon this month, and I really liked the Xenon one, and I'm holding on to it until then. I'm not going to use any of the ones I've seen this has to be original for this question.
Don't mind me looking up Disney Channel original movies right now.
Look at the Pirish. No.
Yeah, no, that works. So Vaz is done.
Oh, good.
He's free.
Yeah.
You turned your test in before everyone else, and like it's just to sit there smugly, just your pencil on your desk.
What if you made like a punch and you called it Boozy Q?
You could do that.
Or Sushi Q? Sushi Q was right there.
Was Suzy Q a Disney Channel original movie?
It certainly was, Mike Foz. Pink Power Ranger.
I just wasn't sure if that was one of those Disney movies that was just.
I think I just looked it up. It's the premiere. I got screwed. Screwed by the premiere.
It worked.
The paper brigade.
It worked.
It worked. All right, so I got to change my answer. Sushi Q.
So it'd be really easy to just put like some, trolley bright crawlers in a can. Say that's can of worms. That's not even a pun, but it should be at this party. Is that I feel like
there's so many. It's unbelievable.
There's a lot. Cheese to curls, and it's like the curly cheese puffs.
Salad cat straws. No, salad cat. What's a good striker food?
How about like dip girls? There's rip girls.
Oh, there you go.
It's a surfing movie.
And if you get like oblong crackers, you can pretend they're surfboards. For dipping, just like a French dip.
There's got to be something for motocrossed.
As for strikers, or alley, because it's Alley Cat Strike. So you wanted salad cats.
Moto tossed salad.
And scrambled eggs.
It did seem like at some point they were just like, "What's another sport we can do?"
Motocrossed. Whap whap. We might do that this month. It feels like it speaks to a cultural moment. I avoided talking about Travis Pastrana on this episode because I feel like we'll get there if we do motocross.
I'm trying to figure out what your Xenon pun was.
I'll Xenon it out, but just I don't want to like leave you in suspense.
It's Xenon Girl of the 21st Century, so like I have to assume Xenon is still safe, and then it's like a pun later in the colon.
It's not even on the title.
Oh God, is it a Raven reference?
There were pita chips, like Stacy's pita chips. It said Zetus Lil Pitas. Like Zetus Lil Pitas. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So you don't just have to go on the title there. I know Vaz locked in Luck of the Pirish early.
Yeah. A solid one. Really good.
It's pretty good.
I don't want to lock in Moto tossed salad.
Scrambled.
There's a movie called Horse Sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the horse that has to wear headphones or he can't be good at horsing. Or is that the one that's like about horse girls?
No, it's a guy.
So, or it's not about like a horse you can see dead people, right?
It's a shot-for-shot recreation of Sixth Sense with a horse in the Haley Joel Osment role.
It's like the opening of Archer with the raptor, but
when the horse says I see dead people, it's just him clicking his hooves against the floor.
Yeah. And it's Horsey Joel Osment is the name of the actor. So yeah, what was yours, Sam?
Hollow Peas Town.
It's a good one. Sounds appetizing.
Just a bowl of peas with the middle's taken out.
I mean, if you're going to call something a town, it better be a lot of peas.
So many peas.
It's like a whole town. Oh, the hole was part of it too. Oh, yep, I see.
Yep.
Hollow Peas Town.
Hollow Peas Town.
Hollow Peas Town. Okay.
I just love the skin of the peas.
Just the skin. It's just a giant bowl of just the skin of the pea.
Well, that sounds not
It took so long to do it.
That's the other. I mentioned way at the beginning that this isn't the first Disney Channel original movie we've done. Of course, the other one was High School Musical, an episode so memorable, I had to recently send the link to it to Kyle to convince him he was on that episode.
Did he forget that he saw the movie?
He knew he had seen the movie. He's like, "You should do that." I was like, "You have. We did. You were on it." He was like, "No, it wasn't. What are you talking about?" And thanks for being on the podcast. You can find yourself on Linktree, linktr.ee/link to the movies. It was Sam and Vaz. Thanks for being on.
What about Craig?
Yeah.
Craig and Guy Ark. I don't know if I explained. So the reason that Craig and an evil twin of Craig are here is because Craig broke.
I did hear the episode where you talked about Craig breaking, but I didn't know Glar was also
here. Yeah. So that's why it's specifically like in the Craig.
Oh, it's Craig backwards. I'm realizing now. Okay.
Yeah, on the landing page for like inviting Craig to your server, it's like, if you're worried about Craig, here's a different guy that's on different servers. Like I think Craig's in Canada and this guy's in Europe or something.
Ooh.
But nothing stops you from forgetting to record for 20 minutes in person.
Nope. No, being out of the habit and not looking for a red light is always going to be a downfall.
That was a hot start of that episode, though.
We came in pretty hot. It was good.
It was like the first three things I heard Vaz say was "fuck."
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, it's good.
We did it like 20 minutes, and it was actually
it was pretty good shit too. Like energy and. I don't know. I think we do a good job on Discord, but it is definitely better in person. You just have to remember to record the dang thing. I don't know how to make Geark leave, but I think we'll see what happens.